Hiya, how you doing? Welcome to this week's Seconds Out. We've got a great show lined up for you this week. We've got more action from the Amateur League from Lee. We've got a guided tour from one of our local gyms. But I'm so excited about the guest this week because it is officially the toughest white man on the planet, Mr. Joe Egan.
Hello there.
How are you, sir?
Sound, thank you. How are you?
That's not officially the toughest white man on the planet.
It's
but
according to Mike Tyson.
According to Mike Tyson. That is not a bad accolade, that
it's a nice compliment. I am far from the toughest white man on the planet, but we were in the gym one day and there was 4 white sparring partners. I was Tyson's sparring partner for almost 2 years, and I was the only sparring partner that he never put down. But we were in the gym one day sparring and there was 4 white sparring partners and he knocked 3 of them out. I was number 4. He didn't knock me out. And at the end of the spar, he shouts, "Joe Egan is the toughest white man on the planet." I was the toughest white man in the gym that day.
Yeah.
It was a nice compliment from Mike.
So, I mean, I'm going to ask you about your professional career, because that was cut short because of a car accident.
Car crash, yeah.
But you eventually made more money and you got more famous by sort of being a sparring partner, really.
Well, the thing is, you know, when I was actually boxing and when I was a sparring partner, I just, you know, I made a living. And now it's funny, you know, talking about the boxing. You know, making more money talking about it than I actually did when I was actually boxing. But it's all good. But Mike Tyson has sort of helped put me on the map. You know, and the punishment that he gave me over the years is sort of paying its rewards now. We've been friends almost 23 years now, and he's done me the ultimate tribute by doing the forwards of my book.
Good stuff, good. And you're looking well. You're
keeping the best on it. A bit overweight.
Yeah.
But I think it's the good living.
Yeah, of course. The good food.
Oh yeah.
You're based in Birmingham now, you know.
Birmingham, yeah.
Originally from Dublin.
From Dublin, yeah.
And how did you go? How did you go from say, like being a local fighter to going over to New York and getting involved with Tyson?
I went away on the Irish team. I won 7 Irish boxing titles, and I went away on an Irish boxing team to box in the States, and I fought in Atlantic City. But I was only 17. I boxed a guy. I think he was 27, 28. He was a mature man. I was only like a teenager. And he was too strong. He beat me on points, but I took a bad beating. But Floyd Patterson was ringside watching the fights, and something that I'd done in the fight impressed Floyd Patterson. He gave me the opportunity to stay on in the States, and it was a fantastic opportunity. And he brought me up to Gleason's gym in New York, and he introduced me to Al Gavin and Bob Jackson, and I sparred in Gleason's gym, and I performed well. And then they gave me the opportunity to go up to the Catskills. They said there's a young heavyweight up in the Catskills called Mike Tyson. I'd never heard of him, but he was the same age as me. He was 17, and he was a big prospect in America at the time. But me being from Ireland, I'd actually never heard of him. First day we went down to watch him sparring, and I'm looking at him sparring, and I thought, he's very good. You know, he's actually fantastic. So the second day, then I sparred with him, and he battered me from pillar to post. But I didn't hit the deck, and that was the first round. He got out. He'd done a round robin, like there'd be 3 or 4 sparring partners, and he would get a fresh man every round. And so it was my turn then to go in after he'd done a couple of other rounds with other sparring partners, and he'd knocked them down and knocked them out. And I got in again, and I'd done a second round with him, and he didn't put me down. So they said it was a fantastic show of courage and a lot of heart. So they said that I want to stay on, and I thought, yeah, so I'm not going to let him get the better of me.
I know that you also you keep in touch with our local fighters here in Manchester. I know you're based in Birmingham, but you know all the local boys, don't you?
Oh, Manchester's always had a great boxing fraternity. You know, it's turned out some great champions over the years, and it's got Ricky Hatton at the moment, who is probably one of the best ambassadors for boxing in the world. He's such a lovely man. And the fact that he can fight as well as he can fight is great. He is some fighter. And you've got Jamie Moore, who's the British champion. I think he's just relinquished the British title. He's a fantastic guy as well.
I'm glad you mentioned him, just by luck, because we sent our man Mike Bradley to go down and meet Jamie Moore this week.
Jamie, it's been a few weeks since the domestic fight of the year against Mr. Macklin. He was groggy for a couple of days afterwards. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I was alright, to be honest, but you know, I was sore the next day. But you know, Sunday I was fine. You know, I was ready to go, having a drink with the lads.
You seem to have recovered remarkably well. We spoke in the dressing room just minutes after the final bell.
Yeah. I mean, it was an hard fight physically, but I didn't take that many headshots, to be honest. It was a lot of it was body shots, and that's why I was a bit sore the next day. But like I said, come the Sunday, Steve had took me to the match watching the Reds, and yeah, I was happy. It had a good win, and ready to celebrate.
You've always said you wanted to fight for a world title. You're ranked number 14 in the world now. Have you got a feeling 2007 will be your year?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'd like straight away early on in the year to get an eliminator for the world title, and then hopefully towards the end of the summer, you know, I'd be pushing for a legitimate world title shot.
You've also picked up an award recently from Salford University, I believe.
Yeah, they've awarded me an honorary Masters in Science degree, so which is a bonus because I never thought I'd be walking out with a MSc after my name, but it's looking that way. Yeah.
Good stuff. You must be proud.
Yeah, I am really proud. You know, I've been going there for like 3.5 years now and working a lot on the nutrition side of it and the strength of boxing, and I've learnt a lot of stuff along the way, and I didn't realise, you know, quite how much I'd learnt until I was chatting to the teacher who told me that I'd got the award. So yeah, you know, I'm proud of it, and you know, it's just another something else what I can fall back on.
So what happens between now and the end of January? You just start your training, just build it up now until you get a confirmed fight?
Yeah, that's it. I'm building a bit of strength back up in the shoulder now, and you know, like I say, hopefully I'll be able to start punching next week. So then it's just a case of hoping the shoulder holds out properly and there's no setbacks, and then I'll be ready to go for January then.
Another lovely fella there, Jamie Moore.
Oh, Jamie's a gentleman.
You've met Jamie, obviously you know him pretty well.
Yeah, I know Jamie well. I was at his fight there when he beat Matt Macklin. Matt's a good friend of mine as well. I actually walked Matt into the ring. I wish Jamie the very best of luck before the fight. There's a great camaraderie of boxing. You know, boxing, to me, it's the greatest sport in the world. You know, first and foremost, it teaches you respect, self-respect, and then it gives you respect for your opponent, respect for another person. And I think that's probably the most important word in any language, respect. And there's a great mutual respect amongst fighters.
Yeah, there is.
And it was a great fight. It's unfortunate like that there has to be a loser. And Matt Macklin was on the receiving end of the punches in the 10th round, and he went down. And it was a great fight. The two of them are great friends. Matt Macklin and Jamie Moore are great friends. And that's the thing about boxing. People that aren't boxing people can never understand how can two men that are friends hurt each other. I boxed a guy in the Irish finals in 1984. I boxed a guy called Cathal Ryan, and he'd won his way to the Irish final, and I won my way to the Irish final. And I actually worked with Cathal. He was the head doorman on the nightclub where we worked. And anyway, we smashed each other to bits. And after the fight, I won on points. It was a good fight. We went to work and we were all busted up, and we're standing on the door of the nightclub, and people are coming in going, you must have been in a row tonight. We were after boxing each other. You know, but that's boxing. It's
crazy.
It's a great sport though.
We were talking about that on last week's show with Arnie Farnell. We're talking about how you can be fighting and then, like you say, having a beer with each other the next night.
Another great fighter from Manchester, Anthony Farnell. He's got the gym now, he's training fighters.
That's right.
He's putting his knowledge of the sport back in, and hopefully he'll be able to turn out a champion like himself. He went on to win a version of the world title.
Right, well, Joe, we're going to take a short break now. But join us in part 2. We're going to be talking about Joe's autobiography. It's called Big Joe Egan, the toughest white man on the planet. And I'm not going to disagree with that, Joe. See you in a couple of minutes. Welcome back to part 2 of Seconds Out. We've got a great guest this week. It's Big Joe. Joe Egan, the toughest white man on the planet. You heard me saying it before the break, because that is the name of your book, Joe. We're going to give one away as well, Joe, if that's all right. If we can have this
fantastic,
one. We're going to give one away because I've been reading some of it, and it wouldn't go short of making a movie, to be honest, your life story.
Well, they're talking about it at the moment. The man that actually wrote the book is a guy called Ronald Graham, and he wrote the scripts to Lock, Stock and Barrel and Snatch. He was involved in writing them scripts. So there's talk about it from the Guy Ritchie people that he's interested, and Ray Winston, who's personal friends with Cass Pennant, the publisher of the book. He might be
you know
interested.
Ray as well.
I know Ray. Ray's a gentleman, great actor, fine actor, and also a lovely person.
Yeah. There's some great quotes in the book, when we talked about Tyson there in part 1. But there's also the original Raging Bull that Robert De Niro played.
Yeah, Jake LaMotta.
Yeah.
I've been friends with Jake since 1988, nearly 19 years now. When I beat Bruce Seldon in Atlantic City, Jake was one of the guests at ringside, and during the fight I got smashed to bits in round 1, and my corner wanted to retire me on my stool, but I wouldn't retire on my stool. And I went on to win on points. Fantastic fight, but I have to go to hospital after the fight. I'm all bust up, I'm in the back of the ambulance, and the adrenaline's wearing off. You know, I'm starting to feel the pain, and I didn't realise Jake LaMotta was standing ringside fighting the fight with me, and he tripped and he hurt his eye, cut his eye and hurt his arm. So I'm in the back of the ambulance in pure agony, and Jake LaMotta was brought to the ambulance. He's brought into the back of the ambulance, and he looked at me, he goes, "The heavyweight, great fight, kid." And it was the best anaesthetic I've ever had in my life. The pain was just gone. I got the raging bull complimenting me on my fight. And then from that day we became great friends.
Like you said in part one, Joe, you got a great lifestyle now. Just going about doing dinners, presentations. You get to meet likes of Robbie Williams and
I've met some
Westlife
great stars over the
stars.
years. I've met some great stars. But Tyson is a massive fan of Westlife.
Is it?
Oh, massive fan. He loves the music. And he actually
just
signed...
can't picture that, can you?
No, you wouldn't believe it. Like, you know, he's a massive fan of theirs, and he signed boxing gloves for Westlife for me to give to the lads. And Robbie Williams is a big boxing fan, so I got to meet Robbie Williams through Max Beasley. It was actually Max Beasley that introduced me to Robbie Williams. But now doing the dinner circuit, you know, I get to Wally Dixon, who's a Manchester promoter. He has me down as a guest on the top table, and Ray Fisher, who was the one of the main guys that brought Tyson into the UK to do his after dinner speaking circuits. Ray Fisher and Charlie Hale, and you get to share the tables with these legends of the ring, champions of the world. It's like every young man's dream that climbs into a boxing ring to become the champion of the world. I dreamed the same dream that every young boxer dreams, but only a certain few get to live the dream. But like they say, even kings dream.
Well, speaking of dreams, Joe, and young lads with hopes for the future, we're going to go down to Lee now for the ABC action.
It was billed as Fight of the Night at the Loughton Civic Hall as Newbury and Farmworth light welterweight Leon Carr took on Alfonso Vieira of Phoenix Camp. Things sparked into life in the opening round with both men trading blows, but Carr always looked to have an edge on his shorter opponent. Round 2 followed suit as Carr again had the better of the exchanges. He already has an impressive record at amateur level, and his longer range helped in keeping his opposite number at bay and carve out the better punches. Vieira came back a little in the final round, showing great tenacity, but it was all a little too late, and a unanimous decision was eventually made in favour of Carr.
Leon, first of all, congratulations. What were your impressions of the fight?
Well, at the start, I thought he was going to be a strong lad. He was a strong lad, but kept it on long range. I think that's what won it for me, really.
I think I didn't try as hard as I could. I kind of let myself down, I think, but it was a good fight. I knew he was a good fighter. He used to be my sparring partner, so, you know, better luck next time.
What did your coach say to you in the breaks?
Well, he was telling me I was doing well, and I needed to keep it on long range, keep away from him. His power, yeah, did well, yeah.
He is a strong lad, Alfonso.
Yeah,
how did you break him down today?
Well, I just kept him on long range, kept out of his way, really. Caught him with a couple of good shots, but like I say, kept him on long range. Did enough.
I was meant to pressure him, and I didn't really do that at all, besides in the third round. And it's just, yeah, I think I just let myself down a bit, yeah.
Elsewhere on the night, in the senior section, home favourite Robert Borden was stopped in just the second round after a left-hand jab to the face from elite's Matt Clarkson. It rounded off an impressive night's amateur boxing, witnessed at first hand by one of this level's all-time greats.
It is very much a fundraising exercise apart from anything else, and showing the lads that's on, putting the lads on display. And of course we've got lads from all over the northwest here tonight, and everybody's mucked in. I think there's 19 contests on the programme, and they've got, I think, about 16 on, so it's really good, really good.
Was it like this, 20, 30 years ago when you were competing?
To be honest, the standard had gone down, and perhaps is still not quite up to what I believe is the standard that we were there in the sort of, I'm talking in my time, a while ago now, but at schoolboy level, for instance, 1967, through until myself 82, so that sort of time, late 60s, 70s and early 80s, the standard was very, in my opinion, very, very, very high. But I think it's picking back up,
Well, that's the future of boxing, isn't it?
That's it.
That's the next generation.
They'd like to hope so, wouldn't they? Most of them.
Well, I think I tell you what, there's a couple there now with great potential. Oh, it's the toughest sport in the world. It's the toughest sport in the world. It separates the men from the boys, boxing is.
Now, have you heard of Bob Shannon, another local trainer?
He's got a couple of good fighters.
He's got some good fighters. Well, he gave us a little guided tour of his gym, so let's take a look at that.
Welcome, Barney, to Shannonsgym Fighting Fit.
Cheers, Bob.
Let me show you around. Right, let's go. Achilles, the nickname Achilles, he's had one professional fight, it's Denton Purcell. He's fighting now on the 9th of December in London. So he's one to look out for, this kid. That's where the circuits are all done for all the lads, so that's where the sweatshop is. And this is the ring. And this is Rocco. Ready, Rocco? Just show him what you can do, Rocco. He's had 8 fights, unbeaten. Let's go to the headquarters now. This is the headquarters of the business. This is the family. This is where they sign them all in. This is the other part where they go on the bags. And this is the one and only Ali. Going for a Commonwealth title, Ali. Nice and easy. That's it. Show him, Ali. Show him. That's it, Ali. Up and coming. Right, this is the dungeon room. And in here is the one and only British champion Andy Morris. Right, Barney, thanks for coming to the gym. A couple of lads are missing tonight. David Barnes, the light welterweight, he's fighting on the 10th of December. Chris Bacon, who boxed 2 weeks ago, he's having a rest at the moment. And that's the lad from the Shannonsgym. Thanks for coming.
You've met a lot of stars, as we said, but you've met a few of my heroes as well, haven't you? Like the likes of Giggsy and...
Oh, the Man United players. Oh, Wayne Rooney is a fantastic person.
Colossal, isn't he?
Oh, he's a lovely person. Ryan Giggs.
He's a bit like a boxer, Rooney, isn't he?
Wayne
boxed. His brother fights,
Wayne boxed himself, and his brother's boxing, and fantastic. Wayne's a lovely person. Mike Tyson idolises Wayne.
Does he?
Oh, he couldn't wait to meet him. And they actually
so
met.
Had he heard of him before he got over it?
Knew all about Wayne, knew all about Wayne's career, and
that's brilliant.
They actually met this year. They met in Phil Yates's restaurant, Lounge 10.
Yeah, well, there was a media frenzy when them two were out. It was madness.
It was unbelievable to be in the I was in the presence of greatness, greatness from the boxing and greatness from the football world.
Yeah,
and it was electric. He's been abused, Mike, over the years, and I think he gave Wayne a little bit of inside information of who to avoid and who to be wary of, and Wayne was hanging on his every word, because Wayne is a massive Tyson fan, he's a massive boxing fan, and it doesn't get any better than Mike Tyson, the youngest ever heavyweight champion in the world.
Well, Joe, speaking of being in great presence, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks for coming on. And as for the book, it is a corker. It really would make a good stocking filler for anyone. Even if you're not a boxing fan, actually, it'd be a good read.
It's not just about boxing. It's a life story that people will be able to relate to. They say you've got to experience the lows to appreciate the highs, and I've had my fair share of lows, but You know, things are very, very good in my life now, and I'd recommend the book to anybody.
Yeah. Well, I would, obviously.
Thank you very much.
And thanks for coming.
My pleasure. I've got a couple of gifts.
I was wondering, yeah, I didn't want to hint, but I've seen.
No, there's
this for me.
This is for you. There's a lovely picture there of me, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Ray Winston. It's actually signed by Sugar Ray Leonard and signed by Ray Winston, and I'll sign it now to you.
Oh, brilliant!
So there's that.
Thank you.
There's a DVD, Cast Pennant, the man that published my book, and there's a part of the DVD is the book launch of Mike Tyson doing my book launch, Canary Wharf.
Thank you.
So that's for you.
And a copy of the book, of course.
Of the book. So you know what I say, beware.
I'm looking forward to that.
Be wary of Irish men bearing gifts.
I know, yeah. I'll get the call in a couple of weeks, won't I? I owe you a favour. That is brilliant, thanks for that.
My pleasure.
Well, on the note, we were just touching on the football thing there. It's Derby Day this weekend, as you might have known.
Yeah.
And I think United are going to batter them 3 or 4-0. However, what does my opinion count? Let's find out all the local lads what they think. I'll see you again next week. Take care.
Don't get me wrong, I'd like City to do well, you know, but it's so disappointing in the league and stuff like that. They let the fans down, and I've got to say, the Man City fans are probably the most loyalist fans I've ever come across.
City 2-1. Come on, United, let's have it.
We're going to pull off, I think it's a 2-0 win. 2-0 win. I think Karadi will score both.
We're going to give the Reds a good hiding this year, I'm telling you.
2-0, City. Going to win, 3-1.
3-1.
I would just say 2-0, 2-1.
If you were to put money on it, what
if I was to put money on it, I'd say 2-1.
United.
No, it's Man City, obviously.
Derby days, I love the Derby days, but I think this year it's going to be City 2-0 all day long.
I think City will have a clean sweep. I think they'll probably give him a licking.
To really just shut up on this point and move on.